Overall, we reviewed the progress of the implementation of the ASEAN Community Roadmap. We discussed a wide range of regional and international issues and exchanged views on ASEAN's future direction. We emphasized the importance of maintaining regional peace and stability and of deepening economic cooperation, as well as expanding people-to-people ties, so that our future generations will inherit a prosperous ASEAN community. Leaders also expressed satisfaction on the progress of ASEAN's relations with dialogue partners and external parties, especially for their support and contribution to our community building efforts. We look forward to the upcoming military medicine and disaster relief exercise to be held in Brunei Darussalam this June. It will be the first humanitarian effort of its kind that will bring together ASEAN countries and partners. On the economic community, we noted the progress that has been made under the community's blueprint. We also agree on the need to enhance the region's economic competitiveness to ensure that our work will be both beneficial and practical to our business community. Next month, here in Brunei Darussalam, we will begin negotiations on one of the world's largest trade pacts, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which we hope will further integrate ASEAN into the global economy. We acknowledge the importance of promoting financial literacy in the daily lives of our people, and in this regard, we look forward to the convening of an ASEAN conference here in Brunei Darussalam this year. In line with all our current team, we also recognized the important contribution made under the socio-cultural pillar in bringing our people together and supporting our community building efforts, as well as in raising awareness of ASEAN among our peoples. In particular, we would like to see greater involvement of our youth in ASEAN activities. We agree to look at initiatives that create better understanding among the people on how our work benefits them, including the possibility of having visa-free arrangements for ASEAN nationals traveling within the region, establishing dedicated ASEAN immigration lanes at main arrival and departure points, and introducing ASEAN business travel card. We look forward to meeting our dialogue partners this October here in Bandar Sri Begawan at the 23rd ASEAN Summit and related summits. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have to say at the moment, and I will now take a few questions.
Your Majesty, I would like to ask about the progress on the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea. Over the last few months, we have seen China become increasingly assertive in pursuing its interests in the area, and the Philippines has made a legal challenge to China's claims before a tribunal in the United Nations. So what is the way forward for this Code of Conduct? And when do you think talks with China can begin? And has China indicate that it is willing to negotiate with ASEAN?
Thank you. Thank you for your questions. The details of the subject matter of your question are in the Chairman's statement. Meanwhile, let me emphasize a number of points. We have had a good discussion among leaders, and there has been some progress since last year. We have agreed on what I see as a two-step approach. Firstly, the overlapping claims are for the claimant states to deal with. Secondly, both ASEAN and China wish to promote a calm and peaceful atmosphere, and to urgently work on a code of conduct. We would like all parties concerned to seize the current positive momentum and to reach an agreement on the code of conduct. And we all agree to encourage continuing discussion, dialogue, and consultations at all levels, especially among claimant countries, and to keep the lines of communication open. We stress on the full and effective implementation of the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties between ASEAN and China. In my view, it is important to have in place practical procedures which could assist in avoiding undesired incidents at sea. For instance, if there is a major storm, fishermen may need to take temporary shelter in disputed area. Such innocent incidents may be misinterpreted, and therefore it would be appropriate to have established procedures, for example, having hotlines to avoid misunderstandings. I personally have held a number of consultations with concerned countries on this matter, and I would continue to do so in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you. Regarding the ASEAN Economic Community, what was the major progress during the meeting, especially regarding to the goal of establishing the community by 2015?
We are making good progress on all the pillars towards realizing an ASEAN community in 2015. ASEAN as a whole continues to enjoy peace and stability, as well as social progress. Under the economic community, we have implemented more than 77% of the measures in the blueprints, and we will continue to intensify effort in this area. Essentially, ASEAN's community building is an ongoing process which will continue even after our 2015 milestones. To ensure continuity, Brunei Darussalam is keen to work closely with Malaysia and Myanmar as the incoming chairs respectively, so that our work remains on track. In opening up our economies, we acknowledge that there are challenges due to the varying levels of development amongst us. Even so, we are committed to overcoming them in the interest of region's long-term economic prosperity.
Your Majesty, I'd like to ask, Brunei takes over the chairmanship of ASEAN, at a really critical juncture now, and given the many challenges it's facing regionally and globally. So what we'd like to know, Your Majesty, is how does Brunei see its role as chairman of ASEAN and benefit from it? Thank you.
It is an honor for Brunei Darussalam to be the current ASEAN chair. Our chairmanship in this time coincides with a number of important and challenging global and regional developments. It gives us an opportunity to play our part in contributing positively towards addressing global and regional concerns, especially some of the security and economic challenges. At the same time, we agreed to further strengthen and move forward our cooperation in many ways that would ensure our people will continue to enjoy peace and stability in the region. In line with our team, we have emphasized a number of flagship projects, such as the role of youth in the business enterprises and their involvement in voluntary community services. We also touch upon the possibility of visa-free arrangements for our people to travel freely within the region, as well as the provision of dedicated ASEAN immigration lanes. We are also working to improve the region's economic competitiveness by easing the way business is done in ASEAN and looking at practical ideas to achieve this, such as an ASEAN business travel card. All these efforts are intended to promote community buildings and raise awareness about ASEAN and the opportunities it creates. Thank you very much.